Hello everyone, welcome to Linda Sue Plants for You. Today I'm going to bring you a video that I'm a little bit sad about admitting, but it is what it is. I have two spider plants here. Both of these are from my friend Susie. She sent me a couple of cuttings about a year ago, and it took a long time for them to recoup from the long mailing again. Same problem as with the other ones that I got in that box, but then I have to take responsibility for this part because this happened in my care, and I know these are very sad looking right now, but you're gonna see what looks like a miracle here in the very near future. I've owned spider plants since I was in my early 20s. I have one plant that's 40 some years old, and I actually brought her back to life here about 2 years ago. Excuse me. We couldn't figure out what was going on. I even contacted our UWM extensions and all kinds of people that should have known or could have known what was going on, and it turned out it was my water. Once again, I switched it to distilled water, and she came back to life within a couple of weeks, and she's doing fantastic. And I'm going to bring this whole corner to you in the future, but right now I've got a lot to do in that corner before I am willing to share that with the public. I'm rather embarrassed at the mess that I've got going on underneath it, and most of that is due to you know, again, my health issues keep me from doing a lot of things that I want to do in a timely manner, and this is one of them. I've been wanting to repot these for a long time, but as long as they were growing and producing babies, I knew I had time, and I had other plants that I had to absolutely attend to or they were going to die. So that's my explanation. I like to think of it as a reason, not an excuse. And I know that there are other people out there, because I have followers who do, who periodically comment that they also have some challenges in life. And, you know, I just want to encourage those people to not give up. Just don't give up. Just do what you can do. You can't be expected to do more than you're able. So you do what you can do, and things will work out eventually. Okay, so now to get down to the point of this video, I am going to repot these into a much larger pot. And some of you are going to cringe when you see this, because, you know, overpotting a plant is normally not a good thing to do. But I've got enough experience with spider plants to know this is not going to be an issue. So let's start with the worst one. And these are my pots. I know that these seem quite big compared to what this plant is in, but as long as I am careful on the watering, which I will be, they will be fine. She will grow into this along with her babies, and I'm going to have all my spider plants growing in a corner again, like I did at one time in my life when we first moved in this house. We had, before we put the dining room addition on our home, we actually had this huge patio door, and my husband built like a track above it, and I don't remember how many spider plants. It was full of spider plants at all different levels. It was just this big wall of spider plants and babies, and everyone who ever came over, they were in awe of it. It was so beautiful, and it was in my east window. So since then, we have taken down that, of course, that patio door is long gone, and our dining room is here, and my plants that are taking up that space, I love the way that looks. So I moved what I did have in the left of the spider plants into my laundry area, but part of that problem is the freezer. It only has one place we can put it in that room, and we could not find a door that opened from right to left. We went to every store, we looked everywhere. For some reason, all freezers are made to open from left to right. So we were stuck with that. Well, now that the warranty is over, I'm going to talk to my husband again about putting the hinges on the other side, because he did suggest that he might be able to do that. But I didn't want to do that while the warranty was in place, because it would have voided the warranty. But the reason I'm telling you that is because every time he opens that freezer door, this blast of cold air comes out, and anything that I've hung anywhere near there has met its demise, or started to until I moved it. So I can't hang anything there. So my space is limited in front of the east windows in my dining room, but I'm going to make the best of it. All right, one of the things that I want to say before I get started here is I want to tell you I have 7 ways, and I'm sure there's more than that even, but I've got 7 ways that you can propagate this plant. Actually 8 if you add the division. But you can propagate the babies, in perlite, in vermiculite, in sphagnum moss, in leca, in a glass of water, and in soil with or without the main stem of the plant. So don't be afraid. If you've got spider plants, just don't be afraid to propagate them, because they propagate very readily, very easily. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is take this out of here. Now, this soil is fairly new, so I'm just going to go ahead and dump that right in here. Oh, and I wanted to show you too, this pot. This is an older pot. These are so hard to come by. And it somewhere along the line we either lost the insert or it didn't come with an insert. You can see that drainage hole up there? Come on. That is kind of raised up. It's not at the bottom. It's not at the bottom of the pot. So what I'm doing is I took these. I get these at the Dollar Tree. They're like 3 for $1. 3 or 4 for $1. They're taped together. And I'm going to insert this upside down. And what that's going to do is it's going to cover that main hole. Now the water, if there's overwatered, is still going to leak out around the bottom a little bit. But it's not going to pour out onto my floor when I water my plants. So that's how I solved that problem. Alright, now I've got one pot already started here. Starting with a clean, fresh pot. I always wash my pots before I plant them. I have a thing about using used pots that aren't washed. And especially when you're using terracotta, because terracotta is a porous material. And if there are eggs or any kind of insects hiding down there, they can hide pretty well in that terracotta. So, but I also there's just something about starting over. I guess I'm a little, what do they call that? I call it obsessed, I guess, with clean pots. So, alright, I'm going to pull her out of here. I loosened up all around the edges. Oh, and yeah, you can see the roots coming off the bottom of here. I'm just going to push on this here, and wow. I'm going to show you what we're dealing with. Now you see these are tuberous roots. You see those throughout. These hold water. This is the downfall for a lot of people. They don't realize that these hold water, and these plants can get overwatered very easily because of it. because even though the soil feels dry, there may very well still be a lot of water in those roots. So that's probably why I've had such good success with the spider plant family, because I don't, my problem isn't overwatering, it's underwatering. Now I'm going to try and loosen this up a little bit. Poke some holes in here. And early on in my YouTube career, if you want to call it that, there is a video that shows you the success of bringing back to life my spider plant that I just referred to, that's 40-some years old. And if you want to see that, I'm not sure, I don't know if I got a before on that or not. I don't think I did, unfortunately. But it was down to about 6 or 7 leaves, and they had brown, like, rust spots all over them. I didn't even recognize what was wrong. Oh goodness, this is really packed in here. Okay, well, I'm not going to mess too much with that, because I'm quite sure that those roots will spread out after a while now that they've got the room to do so. I'm going to take my Dollar Tree snippers. I've already sprayed it with my alcohol solution and let it dry. Some plants you have to be careful. If you spray the alcohol on there, don't start cutting with that wet alcohol. There are some plants that you can damage by doing that. Not many, but you got to be careful. So always make sure it's dry before you start snipping, or just wipe it off with a paper towel. That'll work too. Now this is a wider leaf. I'm sorry, this is not the wide leaf. This is the green. This is supposed to be dark green, folks. And it will be again. You'll see. Just have to trust me. And spider plants will get, from time to time, they will get dried dried tips, brown tips on them. And that's from underwatering usually. So if you get those, you can just snip them off. Like this one. But as your leaves get bigger, you want to try and snip them on a point so that they don't look snipped. So that they just look normal. At this point, it doesn't matter because they're so thin anyway, you wouldn't even notice on you, unless you were looking at it with a magnifying glass. All right. So, we had almost 90 degrees here on Saturday. I'm sorry, on Sunday. It was pretty hot on Saturday too, but we had those high winds, so it was really a nice day. We didn't feel it. But Sunday, that was a whole nother deal. And very, very hot in that sun. Unusually warm for this time of year. And last night, I actually had to turn the heat back on because it was getting down to 50. Now, if I didn't have houseplant babies, I would have just put another blanket on because I like to sleep in the cool room. But I didn't want to do that to my plants. So I did turn the heat on. And now they're saying it's going to get down in the upper 30s this week. So all those beautiful plants that I bought last weekend, I'm going to have to cover. And that's why I don't like to get stuff too early, because this does happen pretty much every year. I live in southeastern Wisconsin, and really our safest planting time is Memorial Day weekend. But I hate to wait that long because it makes for such a short growing season. So, and that's okay. I got a sheet. I just put all the plants together and throw a sheet over them and take it off in the morning. Now, I don't know what's going to happen to the ones we have planted out in the yard. Probably not a lot, because those are perennials. They'll probably be fine. In fact, my daffodils made it through that weird blizzard that we had 2 weeks ago. They were covered in snow. I thought for sure they were done. A couple days later, they were standing up straight and big and beautiful and yellow, and it was amazing. And I just noticed I got a cracked. That's okay, that won't hurt anything. Okay. Alright, so that's one. Now, what I'm going to do with her is, my daughter finally found me some hairpins. These are hard to find. People don't wear these anymore. They're not bobby pins, they're hairpins. And I like to use these to secure stems in the soil when I'm trying to root things. They're perfect for that. So now with this plant, we have one baby on here. Now I can do one of two things. I can cut this off. And I'm going to show you on this end here. See, it actually has a couple babies. Let's see if I can get a clear picture of that for you. She dried out. She dried up. So she's got to go. So I'm going to take her off. I'll cut that right there. Get rid of her. Now, I can either leave this on here, which I do on some of them because I like the babies, I like how they look, but because this only has one or two, and because I want this to get fuller, I'm going to repot this. Now, again, I can put it in several different mediums and it will root. I can put it in water, it will root, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in the pot, and I'm going to secure it with this pin. I'm going to put that around this this long stem here, and push it down in the soil. Make sure it's not too deep. You want it, to touch the soil, but you don't want to bury it too far because it will rot. So I think there's one more on here. Yep, very little. And again, I could cut this off and I could root it in a different medium, or let it get a little bigger and root it in water. You don't have to wait for roots to form down here to root it. Roots will come out here, but you don't have to wait for that to root these. They're very, very good at producing roots all on their own. See, part of the problem with these two is I had them on that windowsill, so when they started growing long, I couldn't turn it because it would have been leaning up against the glass and that would have burned them. So it kind of grew to one side, the side that was hanging down off the windowsill. But again, I'm not worried about it. This is going to be just fine. Now that I'm actually able to tend to it and get at it. There was a while there where I I couldn't get at it without a lot of work, so she's going to be okay now. All right. I'm going to set her aside. I'm going to give her a little drink, and then I'm going to put her where she's going to live. And like I said, I will give you all a picture of that corner once I have her, once I have it all done. Overcast day today. And I'm okay with that, I guess. We've had a lot of sun these last couple weeks or couple days. And sometimes the sun can be too much when you have too much. Too much of a good thing. Now you can see she was sitting on the windowsill and she kind of grew sideways. So that's why she's leaning like that. But we're going to fix that. And it won't take much. And again, I wish I could have gotten to this a little sooner, but it is what it is. And the plants that I showed you the other day, my early Mother's Day haul, they're doing fine. The ones I have in the plastic bags, I'm quarantining them for 14 days. That's hard to do. I mean, when you get a new plant home, you want to look at it and kind of play with it. And you want to see how it's going to look, where you're going to display it. So it's hard to do, but after what I've just been through, I can wait. Now this too, you can see the roots on here. This is still old. Still got that orchid bark in there. And I don't know if I've mentioned this lately, but I stopped using orchid bark in my indoor plants. I use it outside. It helps with drainage. Helps to keep the soil from packing down. But I no longer use it indoors because I do believe that there is a I have not had fungus gnats since I quit using it and repotted my plants, and I believe that that was part of the problem. Maybe not all of it, but. And the reason that came to my mind, and I know I've mentioned this in past videos, but it doesn't hurt to mention again. One day when I was reading about the fungus gnats and how they feed on decaying plant matter, as do other insects. And it popped in my head that bark, when it's wet, would fall under that category of decaying plant matter. And I thought, well, how is that different from any other, decaying plant matter? But and then I got to thinking, I wonder if that's part of my fungus gnat issue. And it's been, I think we're going on a year. It was last fall when I repotted everything and took the Well, I shouldn't say everything because this is one of them that didn't get done, but because I let this dry so much, I think that's what saved it. Okay, let's just get that in there. But I no longer have fungus gnats, nor have I had them since last fall. So, I don't know. It was just a theory, but I'm starting to believe that there is something to it. This is a little bit high here. There. She's got lots and lots of babies. Normally I use my little handy scooper, but my hubby was messing around with my dirt this weekend and it disappeared. I think I have more in my back room, but I didn't want to have to dig for them today, so this works too. Well, I don't quite have her in the center, but that's okay, because these babies are going to fill that up anyway. That's just one stem. So she's pretty healthy. I am going to leave these connected to the mother plant. As I said earlier, we can snip these off and just put them in the soil, or we can leave them connected. Leaving them connected is a little quicker way because the mother will continue to feed until she develops a good root system. So that's a safer way to do it, but it's not, like I said, it's just not necessary. I think I want to try and get that on that side so we can stop it from continuing to tilt. And here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 babies. Wow. That's a lot on one stem. And I'm going to pin these down in here. We just want to get the very tip of it touching the soil. You don't want to bury it because it will rot. Don't want to get it too far down in there. Oops. These are going to root and fill this pot up very nicely. Now I'm going to have to be a little careful initially when I'm watering, because what we don't want is for water to get up in the leaves of these. Okay. And normally, folks, I don't normally plant these when they're this small. I have, but I don't like to. I like to wait till they're a little bit bigger. But because of the situation here, I think I'm just going to put these in it now. Now I'm going to put these in here, and I think I'm going to let this one just hang down for now. And at some point I will cut these off and stick them in the soil, or just stick them in the soil. But I think we have enough here to fill up this pot. And one thing I don't need is another basket of spider plants to have to find a place to hang. So in years past, when I wanted to increase my I wanted to make more, more pots, then yeah, then I would definitely cut them and make a whole full plant out of it. But that is not my intention here. All I really want to do is give the mother plant a fresh start and put the babies in here to help fill up the pot a bit. And there is a possibility I may lose one or two of those real tiny ones, but it's not gonna be a big deal, because we've got so many, and these grow so fast. There, as you can see, there's another shoot starting up here, and then I saw one more somewhere on here, so she's doing just fine. I'm going to cut off the another reason that I like to cut off the browning on all of my plants, especially if I don't know what's causing it. Because if I think I know what's causing it and I think I've corrected the problem, I won't remember which leaves were bad and which ones weren't. So by cutting off the bad ones, then if I don't see any new browning, then I know I resolved the problem. So there is a little bit of method to my madness. I'm going to start fresh. Okay. I think she's cute. I think she's going to be okay. Oh, I'm so glad to have that done. That's been bothering me for quite a while. But she's ready. I'm going to give her a little bit of water here. And then we're going to leave her be for a while. When hubby gets home, he's got to put some hooks in the ceiling. That's the other thing that's been holding me back, because he's been so busy outside and I can't put the hooks in. I can't get on the doggone ladder, and boy, that's frustrating. It's such a simple thing, but Well, not anymore. Okay. I think she looks much better, huh? We've got a few that are up in the air, but that's okay. When those get bigger, I will cut those off. These up here. Can you see that? A little bit further. This one here, I'm going to let that grow. And then when it gets a little bigger, I'll stick that down in the soil. And these we're just going to let hang down for now. And like I said, I'm going to bring back and show you the whole corner there when I get everything up and in place. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, thank you all for coming. Hope you come again. I don't think there's anything that I didn't talk about that you need to know. Just, she likes bright indirect light. East window has always worked best for me. And let her dry out in between waterings. When these leaves get pale like this, it's because they need water. So she will darken up once she gets regular waterings again. Other than that, I feed every time I water. I use a synthetic water soluble, the blue crystals. I use 1/4 of what they call for in a gallon of water, and that's what I use to water my plant. So other than that, there's nothing really special that they need. They're very easy to grow, and they're fun, especially for kids. If you got children and you want to get them into the planting world, this is an excellent plant to use because of the babies. I can teach them a lot off of this plant. All right, that'll be it for me today. Hope you all have a great day, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Thank you for coming. Bye now.